welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi, we just finished watching the women's gold medal game. Absolute barn burner. A lot of people were writing that game off, thinking it might not be too close. We ended up getting a fantastic game of hockey. Not gonna lie, like the Olympics, the IIHF, they are getting so fucking lucky that these players are showing up and making this overtime worth watching, because it could be crap. The 3-on-3 sucks, but a lot of the play we're getting is good. And I mean, that gold medal goal in that game was ridiculous. Like, what a move between that was a straight up NHL 25 deke, and then goes five short side on the goalie. What'd you think of the game?
I thought it was pretty good. There was a lot of times during the game where, because for the majority, Canada was kind of leading in the game. And obviously, the game we're talking about is the US beat Canada 2-1 overtime for the gold medal. Despite Canada leading for a good portion of the game, it kind of felt like they shouldn't have. There was a lot of mistakes they were making that the U.S. just wasn't capitalizing on, and that's something that they were kind of dominant in doing throughout the entirety of the tournament. And to the point where we kind of got to, the final few minutes of the game, and I was just thinking, that's insane. If at the end of the tournament you tell someone, yeah, this team went through, 7 games and had 30 goals for, 2 against, and they didn't win the whole thing.
Especially if they would have lost 1-0 in regulation, would have been crazy.
Yeah, and again, with not much time on the clock, Hillary Knight in her final Olympic game for the Americans, the captain, tying it up, and once that goal was kind of scored, even for me as a Canadian and never in any scenario will ever be rooting for the Americans, it kind of felt like it was like, oh no, this is trending towards a silver medal for Canada, and that's ultimately where we ended up. It's I'm not surprising anyone by saying it, but Canada needed to win it in regulation, I think, if they wanted to walk out the gold medal, and came up short, but put up a great game against a very, very, very good team.
Yeah, and I would not be shocked to hear that at the very least, the Canadian women team didn't practice 3-on-3 at all, because it didn't look like they had when they were out there. There was so many times where there was 2 of them 5 feet apart, and it's like you're not really much of a passing option 3-on-3 if you're skating right in front of me. Like there was a lot of weird crisscrossing, just people miscommunications, and I really wish we could have seen a 5-on-5 OT, but it was a goalie duel. Both goalies showed up big so many times. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal. And we've been singing the praises of the US goalie the whole tournament, but and Renee Desbiens really showed up this game, where she has for Canada in the past, but this tournament she looked a little bit shaky. People were wondering, like, are they potentially going to the backup, or what's going on? And no, she showed up huge in this game, so props to her.
It took an incredible deflection by Knight to tie it up, and then again, like you mentioned, from Keller, a phenomenal overtime goal. Like, it took 2 really good goals to get the Americans only 2 goals of the game in a tournament where, again, they were scoring 5+ goals every game. So they had to do they had to work for it, and they had to get the nice place to get it done. And lucky for them, but I'll say unfortunately, they only needed to win this game. But that's the way it goes.
They don't. I believe we talked about this when we did our predictions. They don't do an official MVP for these, do they? Do we want to? If they won't, we
it's
can.
pretty obvious. I mean, we can, but like, what's the fucking point? But we can.
Are you thinking Aaron Frankel, or are you thinking
it's Aaron Frankel?
Okay.
And it's not close.
Okay. The name's escaping me. It's killing me at the moment. The defenseman was the defenseman who was like leading the tournament in scoring on the American team. I can find it. I can find it here.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's still Aaron Frankel, and it's not even close.
I do agree. Like she. Oh, she let in another goal this game. Like,
yeah,
she let in another goal this game. That meant her goals against average went up
to 0.0 to like 0.2 or something, 0.25.
I think it would actually be 0.5. How many games have they played? Because I think she's let in 3 goals in the tournament now.
No, because they only allowed 2 all tournament,
including the one this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be
they let one in the first game against the Czechs, and then until this game.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
Megan Keller. Jeez, that was killing me.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So she was the one who got the overtime winner. But yeah, it's still Aaron Frankel, and it's not even close.
Yeah, she was incredible. Oh, tough.
So the goal against or the goal Czechia scored was an even strength goal. Just gonna double check to confirm that. Was it? Yeah, even strength. 8 seconds away from being a shorthanded goal, actually. So the Americans didn't allow a single goal when they were on the penalty kill the entire time.
But they allowed one on the power play this game.
They did.
They're looking like the Colorado Avalanche, having a better penalty kill than power play, even for scoring.
Yeah, but overall, I did think it was a good game. I'm glad it was a lot closer than what it was kind of shaping up to potentially be. And
yeah,
again, you got to give props to Canada. You know, it's not very often they're coming into these type of games as the underdog, let alone being a plus 300 underdog. And
that's crazy. Like
to hold the lead for the majority of the game. And again, it kind of felt like they sat back a bit, and that isn't a recipe for success in a game like this. You got to keep rolling with it.
They were a bit earlier. The last 10 minutes, they kind of dominated. Like,
well, I was like, eventually
I really felt like they're going to tie it up. They're going to tie it up. And then with 8 minutes left, it just stayed in the America's zone for like the next 5 minutes. And I was like, holy shit. Like, is America even going to get another shot? Like, we might just grind this game out. And then they got the offensive zone face off, goalie pull. They had the extra player. Like, they gave them hell out there, and right to the end. And yeah, it was crazy because the whole tournament leading up to it, people have been saying, you know, the whole storyline's been that the U.S. team wasn't afraid to bring the young players. The Canadian team, they're going back to the well. They're bringing the older players. Like, there's a huge age difference on the rosters, and youth has been winning the whole tournament. And then this game, at multiple points, it just looked like, oh, they're in the rookies' heads. The young kids, they're making the mistakes. You know, they're not
starting to find a show for Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like we might be getting the complete opposite that everyone was predicting. And that was really cool. And yeah, it's so good when these games are so close. It's nice that it was when it wasn't fully expected to be. For the love of God, make it 5v5 next year.
That is my biggest takeaway from it. Is that was our second overtime of the day. Because just before that, Switzerland defeating Sweden 2-1 in overtime as well to win the bronze medal. That one was an upset. Sweden coming in as the underdog and pulling out the win. I did say earlier this week, I said Switzerland was going to win. I felt like everything was going right for that team, and phenomenal goaltending for them is the biggest takeaway from this tournament for them, and something to keep an eye on when looking at Switzerland in future tournaments is how good the goaltending was for them.
Yeah, no, you absolutely called it, and I feel like I don't have as much input on some of these games. I know some of the international rosters for the men's side. On the women's side, I really only know much of the U.S. and the Canada roster. Like, I'm not familiar with too many of the other players, but it was still a really good game. Also went to OT. We're going to be talking about 6 games in this episode. 5 of them went to OT. You know much how like they were all great, but like how gas it would have been to have 5 out of 6 games go to 5-on-5 overtime. I'm trying to get it out now so that I'm not saying it throughout the whole episode.
It would have been nice, but it was the first time that in the men's quarterfinals in a single day that we did get 3 overtime games, and then in the span of 26 hours we had 5 overtime games, all in either elimination or medal games. So just a fantastic couple of days of hockey, and I don't like saying it, but congrats to the U.S. women's team on the gold medal. Canada with silver, and then obviously Switzerland with bronze. But I think we can jump into the men's quarterfinal games that took place yesterday.
One last thing I just want to touch on, because you can't have a conversation about gold medal games without talking about Marie-Philippe Poulin. She had a pretty good game, but I think it was still pretty evident that she was injured. Oh, just really unfortunate that she had to get injured at just the worst possible time. And it's, as a Canadian with your potential greatest of all time, your captain being injured and it going down like that, it's hard not to draw a little bit of a comparison with Sidney Crosby, who is labeled as by John Cooper as day to day earlier this morning. The captain, perhaps the all-time great. It's hard not to draw that comparison of fuck, I really hope he's good to go for these next 2 games, and I really hope he can play it at least 80-90%.
Mm-hmm.
Call it an even 87.
No, absolutely.
But yes, we can get into the men's quarterfinals.
I guess the first game we can dive into is the first one that took place yesterday. Slovakia beating Germany 6-2. Slovakia continuing their pretty solid run here in the Olympics. A lot of good wins over good teams, and continue to roll on. They'll have to take on the Americans. That's obviously going to be the toughest matchup they've had yet so far. But
yeah,
they're getting goal scoring all throughout their lineup. It's not just the Dvorsky. I mean, we were you mentioned him to me earlier today, but guys like him, Slavkovsky, even Simone Nemec, they're getting goal scoring throughout their entire lineup, and that's something that they really haven't had before at this stage quite to the same extent that they're getting now. And again, they're continuing to cement themselves as one of the top countries when it comes to hockey.
Yeah, I think I would have a different answer if Barkov was healthy. But comparing this Finland team to this Slovakia team, I'm kind of glad we're facing Finland. And that's not a knock on Finland. That's this Slovakia team is low-key scary. And especially with the way, like you said, Slavkovsky's playing with whenever he puts on his country's jersey, what an X factor. You have to be worried about him 24/7. Talk about a player that just has the mandate of heaven. They've been absolutely incredible, and we're going to talk about the other 3 games, but all 3 of those went to overtime, and this one went 6-2 against a Germany team that we thought had a pretty decent chance going into this. They've got Philip Grubauer, who's been
I didn't
great today, or great this season. They've got Draisaitl, Seider, Paterka, Stutzel, all them, but
But that's
it
that's the
wasn't
problem with
particularly
Germany right there
close.
is they have those top end players, and that's why I wasn't as high on them as some other people, was because they had to ride their top guys just to get to this point. And again, it's not the same normal living conditions they're used to, being over in the Olympics and not getting a huge amount of time off between games and stuff always on the go. By the end, it was just it's hard to expect a lot out of your top guys when you've been having to ride them uh, so heavily just to get to this point again against a Slovakia team that just wears you down physically
Yeah,
all game, and Slovakia was deeper. So,
yeah,
it kind of was just working to a point where you couldn't really expect much from Germany's top guys. You couldn't expect them to go out there and combine for 5 goals or 4 goals win a game, because they've been carrying the workload this whole tournament, and
yeah,
that's tough to do.
yeah, yeah. It was always a long shot for it to hold up that well. Even then, I didn't expect Slovakia to beat them this handily, especially with how close all the other games have been. And yeah, so like Slovakia, they just look great. I think they've got a
Yeah.
lot of momentum. Like, would I pick them to beat the US? Probably not, but like I think it's more of a threat than people are thinking. Obviously, right now and at the start of the tournament, everyone's penciling US, Canada. Um,
Yeah.
but would it be an upset? Absolutely. Would I be shocked? Not really.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it. And again, my whole thing isn't necessarily to bash on Germany, more so kind of just highlighting
Yeah,
some of the
100%.
issues for them, but it is more so absolutely how good Slovakia has been this tournament. And again, I'll continue to say it. They just keep climbing up, more and more, is becoming, one of the top countries when it comes to hockey, right? They're the defending bronze medalist,
Yeah.
and a lot of people thought, all right, with NHL players back, yeah, you're not gonna,
Yeah.
get back to that point. There's just
People
too
saw
many
it as
good
a
players
flash in the
coming in,
pan.
too many. Yeah, and now at the bare minimum, they're going to be playing in a medal game, whether that's for the gold medal or the bronze medal. They're going to have a chance to walk out with another medal here, and again, in a tournament that has NHL players. Slovakia
Yeah.
benefits from getting NHL players, but teams like Germany benefited more, Finland, Switzerland, US, Sweden, Canada, Czechia, all these countries benefited more than Slovakia
Exactly.
from
Yeah.
NHL players coming back. And here we are again. They're in the final four.
Yep. I think that sums it up pretty well. With so every second year we're getting the World Cup of
Yeah.
hockey. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What do you know? What's that? Do you know what that is? Like, it's not like the same format as the Four Nations, right?
Yeah, no, so it's going to be something similar to what we had back in 2016. Um going to be formatted a little bit different because obviously they're not going to be doing the Team North America. Um you're
Yeah.
probably looking at 8 countries, I imagine.
I was gonna say, because like
And
the way
you
Slovakia
you
and
probably
Czechia are
have your
playing, you
two.
can't just do 4 teams anymore.
No, you'll have your your big four from the Four Nations, and that's Canada, US, Sweden, Finland, and then you'll probably be getting the other teams in the mix here that were in the quarterfinals, and that'll be Czechia, Switzerland, Germany, and Slovakia. Maybe Russia, if and when they're able to come back into play here. And then if they do, then you kind of got to wonder, is Germany the team that's coming out? Is Switzerland the team that's coming out? Slovakia's kind of making themselves undeniable, where you have to keep them in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know for sure exactly how it's going to go, but my guess is it's going to be the 8 countries, and 4 in each division, and then it kind of goes from there.
Oh, okay. Okay, good to
If I
know.
had to guess.
I really hadn't looked into it, so I didn't know if they were planning on just going like 4 countries again or something. But I was just
No,
thinking, like,
no.
at this point, it's too much. Like even when they did the Four Nations, we were like, damn, dude, we're doing this big thing, and like guys like Draisaitl, Pasternak, like they're all just at home. Like,
Yeah.
so it would be good when they do it to get everybody in on it again, because this has been just incredible hockey. I keep seeing, you know what, never mind. I'm pretty sure I brought this up on the last episode. I think I'm repeating myself. I was going to say
What is it?
a lot of fans of the US team specifically have been saying that the Olympics have been boring. Like, are
Oh
they just
yeah.
playing super defensive hockey? But we already talked about that. That was
Yeah.
also in the
Yeah.
preliminary games, so I think they were just like, let's get to the games that matter. But
Pretty much, yeah. Speaking of a game that mattered quite a bit, Finland defeating Switzerland 3-2 in overtime. Now,
a
I'm not
comeback
doing
win
these
as
in the
well.
order of the way the games went. This was actually our second overtime game of the day. Yeah. Big, huge comeback win for Finland.
They
Down
were
two
up, they were
nothing
up
with
2-0.
about 7-ish, give or take, minutes left in the game. And Aho gets Finland on the board, and then Heiskanen with just a little bit over a minute left. And then terrific goal from Lehkonen in overtime. And in the blink of an eye, Switzerland is looking poised to go on to the semis, and they're going home empty-handed. And that, you know,
That's
no lead
brutal.
is safe, and you got to give a lot of credit to Finland. Again, Finland being the defending gold medal winners. Huge gutsy win by them to come back in a game that, it wasn't even like Finland looked bad. And I didn't get to watch the game in its entirety, but I was able to, majority of the game. But it's not even like Finland looked bad. It was just Switzerland was playing a really good game, and huge to get 2 goals in the span of minute and a half in the first, and you get all that momentum, you can kind of carry that through and use that, and kind of felt like watching Finland. It's all it took is for them to get 1 goal, and it was things were going to change for them, and that's exactly what happened. Kind of dominating the later portion of the third, and then I don't even really think Switzerland. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I don't think Switzerland really got that many great chances in overtime. Like
Yeah,
what really was kind of just feeling like Finland was just waiting for their moment to strike, and as soon as they
yeah.
got it,
And
it's in the back of the net.
it often feels like that in games that go that way, where it's, the whole way it looks like this one team's going to win, and all of a sudden, bang, they're within 1. Bang, they tied up. Like, as soon as that happens,
Yeah,
it almost always feels like the team who tied it up is going to win, right? Like,
yeah,
it really feels like that's just a massive momentum shift, and you could really see it out there.
yeah. No, absolutely.
It really sucks for it to be so close and to be a comeback loss as well for Switzerland, because you can't help but wonder, if you've got Kevin Fiala out there, like, do you have a third goal? Is it 3-0? Maybe he forechecks like mad and they don't get one of those goals. Maybe they do, but he scores an OT winner. Like, that's
Yeah.
a really skilled player that didn't get to play in this game, that definitely could have turned the tides. So it's
No, absolutely, and I give I give Switzerland a lot of credit, right? Because it was in the final like 2 minutes of the game against Canada that they lost Kevin Fiala due to that injury. Um, from that point, I mean, their next game up against Czechia, and they win that one in overtime, and that's a huge win against a good Czech team. Then they go on, they beat Italy 3-0. And then to that point, they were, a minute away from beating Finland. And, kind of the run they were able to go on despite losing one of their better offensive players. You got to give them a lot of credit. They didn't let that affect them. They continued to. Actually, their play just seemed to almost elevate from that moment, and it almost got them through to the semis. Again, it is a very tough loss for them. But it is against a very good team like Finland. It's not like you got upset by a France or something.
Yeah.
type of.
Yeah,
type
frankly,
of
it
game.
was. Yeah, it would have been an upset if Switzerland ended up winning the game. So at least
Mhm.
they do have that. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's gotta be rough for them.
it's unfortunate, but I mean, congrats to Finland, phenomenal game, and again, great comeback.
Yeah,
Next game we got up here again. We're saving the big one for last. Next game we got here is the United States beating Sweden 2-1 in overtime. You guessed it. That was our third overtime of the day.
yep, yep. And this one, I was thinking about not doing it, but I'm going to do it again. This is the game that annoyed me, I think, the most watching it. Just sitting there knowing I am actively watching 3-on-3 when I could be watching 5-on-5. Uh, just like the way Quinn Hughes just kind of walked around the zone for a bit. They cycled it. He walked out and just like took advantage of a tired defender and beat the goalie. It's a nice shot. Don't get me wrong, but like, oh, just the way they're skating around, it was like, fuck, here we go. They're doing the 3-on-3 overtime thing, and I like great shot. Quinn Hughes. I mean, he was he's easily the most noticeable American player on the ice every time he was out there for me. Like he really showed why he's a game breaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just would have been nice to see 5-on-5. But luckily,
No,
we
it's
still got
good.
60 minutes of fantastic regulation that ended in a tie going into the overtime. And
Yeah.
man, what a game! Like,
It
I was
really
surprised that
was.
it was
It
so
was.
low scoring. Like, it
Um.
makes sense because both teams have very
Yeah.
good defense and good goaltending. But I guess we'll start with that. What did you think of the choice of Jacob Markstrom?
I mean, I can't sit here and say, that it makes sense, that I supported it. That it was the right move because in the moment I couldn't, because I didn't think Jacob Markstrom was going to play a single game this tournament. I didn't even think at the time he should have been on the team. But you know, we don't know the exact circumstances surrounding Linus Hallmark and if that kind of played a role in why he wasn't on the team. But I didn't think Jacob Markstrom was going to play in this tournament at all. And he finds himself in the quarterfinal here against Americans, and he played absolutely fantastic. This could have easily been a 5-0 win for the Americans, and
The way
just
Gustafson played
no
earlier, it
sweat moving on.
might have been.
It very well could have been. Like, Jacob Markstrom was, in my opinion, the most impressive player in this game. And that's huge, from going from a guy that, and I don't think I'm the only one that felt he shouldn't have been on this team, or
Oh no,
didn't think he was
no,
even going
far
to be
from
playing.
it.
And he was the player of the game. Again, they unfortunately they did lose, but the first goal, I mean, it's a perfect deflection by Larkin. I can't really fault
I mean, it got
fault
deflected.
Marks from that much. It's on the defenseman for leaving Larkin all alone there.
It was like 10 centimeters in front of Markstrom where it got deflected. Like if he was hard, his dick would have stopped that deflection and he would have had a shutout. Like, like Dahlin, like, and it was Rasmus Dahlin of all people who missed a stick lift. He goes in right before the tip's gonna happen and he missed it, and it was just yeah, that's not a play that Rasmus Dahlin doesn't make most of the time. That's just a real rough go.
It's just,
Phenomenal
yeah,
tip
and
from I think Dylan Larkin.
yeah. So again, on that one, like, I can't fault Markstrom.
No,
That last one, I mean, yeah, I would have liked to get a save from him, but I didn't like Sweden's coaching going into this tournament, and I think as it continued to develop out the entirety of the tournament, they just got exposed more and more by it. You start by,
yeah,
and again, Sweden, a very good team and a lot of good forwards, but their biggest problem is they don't really have those, like, just goal scorers. Those guys are just known for scoring goals. Like, you really have. I'll let people have it if they want to say Adrian Kempe. I can get on board with that. But guys like Nylander, all around player, kind of does it all. Lucas Raymond, more of a playmaker type stuff. Your only true, like, really solid goal scorer is Philip Forsberg.
Yeah.
And the coach straight up said he's not good enough to be in our top six. He doesn't play the way we want our bottom six to, so he's not playing. And it's like, well, if you're taking your best goal scorer and not using him, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. And then Philip Forsberg comes into the lineup. Who's coming out? Jesper Bratt instead. And I couldn't make sense of that either. And I love this guy. I do think he's a terrific player. I'm so happy he's back. But putting out Gabriel Landeskog in overtime was not the move. Overtime is about speed and players that are good offensively, but also can make defensive plays. And Landeskog's defensive game has kind of struggled. And so I didn't like the move. And he's the one that got burned by Quinn Hughes on the overtime goal.
Well, and
which was unfortunate.
So foot speed, he's probably getting burned there anyway. You know why US had the puck to begin with on that play? The best thing Landeskog is at this point in his career, probably beside leadership. I imagine he's a top tier leader. His shot, he's still got a really good shot. 3-on-3 overtime, you don't go for a one-timer down that low. Unless you're Leon Draisaitl, you're probably not scoring from there. Yeah. And it rimmed all the way around. The Americans grabbed it and they got possession. And the rest is history from there. Like, yeah, putting them out there was rough. I do think this was probably the worst coached team in the tournament.
And it wasn't close.
No.
It wasn't even close.
There have been rumors, nothing confirmed by anybody official. But there are rumors that Hedman was injured-ish, but good to go for the game. And they aren't a huge fan of him, so they had him on the bench and didn't have him play. For those who don't know, he wasn't a healthy scratch, I don't think, but he didn't play
he got
at all
in
the game. Yeah, he got injured in warm-up, and a lot of people are wondering, how injured? Did he get injured that he shouldn't have played, or did he get injured enough that the coaching staff was like, okay, now we can not play him and we don't look like tools? I don't know if that's the case. There's some stuff going around. Might be salty people because he didn't get the captaincy and they thought he would. Who knows? But the fact that Jesper Bratt and Philip Forsberg are already guys coming out of the lineup, it kind of feels like nobody's off limits to be out of the lineup. Like, is there anybody that's like
Hedman,
he was above those guys?
In terms of Forsberg and Bratt, no, they're two of their top players.
Yeah, like if they're willing to bench them, they're kind of willing to bench anybody, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a benching for him, and I think it was a legitimate injury, and I think it's maybe one of those ones that maybe he plays against, again, if it's like an Italy or France, maybe, but against a U.S. team this good, and again, a game was 1-1 after regulation, you can't really afford to be like, well, we'll see how it goes, go out there, and then Hedman gets burned, and then the U.S. scores, and it's like,
yeah,
fuck, again, in a game the way that it went, that would have been a game costing decision. And but I don't understand fully though if it was something along the lines of like, did they have to submit who's playing before warm-ups, during warm-ups? Like, why wouldn't you at least just have Hedman sit in the press box and then dress your extra defenseman, and even if they don't play, at least you've got him as an option if, say someone gets injured.
I think
if one of your other six one of those things injured, where, or maybe they really just wanted Hedman on the bench for his leadership.
I think it's kind of that. It's part leadership and part, if things really come down to the wire, we want 40% of Hedman instead of 100% of whoever the extra guy would have been. Which, I mean,
I think it was Anderson.
I was going to say, Sweden's pretty fucking deep for D-men. So they would be one of the more confusing countries to be making that decision specifically for defense. It's one of those things where I do wonder if they had a specific scenario in mind where he would play, or if it was just, they never thought he was going to. He was just there to be on the bench.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, like, if they were like, if we get a 5-on-3, we want him to quarterback it or something, or like if this very specific game state happens, we were planning on it, but otherwise no. Like, I'd love to know if any of that was discussed, or if it was just you're hanging out, be good for the lads. But U.S. end up winning 2-1 in overtime.
Hellebuck looked good.
Hellebuck looked really good as well.
Hellebuck was looking really good.
Is Markstrom going to go down as one of the, like, this is going to sound harsh, but one of the worst goalies with the best highlight reel? Like, if I can come up with a player comparison, like an Owen Tippett, like, he's pretty good, but his highlight reel would suggest he's up there with fucking Ovechkin. Like Markstrom might have a better highlight reel than Dominik Hasek. I don't know if it's because his positioning's bad and his reflexes are phenomenal, but like, he's so often, nobody pulls the puck off of the goal line more than he does. He does it like 5 times. He does it like a couple times a month, and it's always this guy. It's crazy.
That is a good point.
And he had to do it a couple times this game. And man, when it was on the goal line, it was close. It wasn't like middle of the goal line. It was like 90% in. But that 10% needs to go in, and he swiped it out. So
yeah, no, I thought he had a awesome game. Is kind of the reason Sweden was still in it up until the end. Nice to see Zibanejad finally get one through to give Sweden something in this game.
A perfect shot. Perfect one-timer. It couldn't have been closer to the post without hitting it.
Yeah, no, it was it had to be a perfect shot to go, and that's exactly what he got. They kept it close, but it did always kind of feel like it was the Americans' game to win. They ended up winning. I didn't think we were going to end up getting an overtime, but I was excited to watch overtime, even though it only was 3-on-3. But yeah, Americans win. They're off to play Slovakia. And
it does make it extra exciting with 3-on-3, only because it's less structured, which means it's a bit more even. There's more chance for the underdog team to win.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if the underdog team wins because it's 3-on-3, that does feel a little like
it doesn't feel the same.
Screwy that the better team didn't get to play 5-on-5 to decide it. But either way, yeah, great game by both teams. Great game by the U.S. team. I mean, I was going to be confused at why people are shitting on Austin Matthews, but I guess I shouldn't be. I've been around hockey circles, but he's been fantastic in this tournament.
He's had a good tournament.
Like, he's leading the Americans in points. He's playing well defensively. Frankly, he could have a couple more goals. There was at least one time where I was like, Tage, what are you doing? Austin Matthews, backdoor, wide open. The goalie sold out to your side, and he took a shot instead. Like, if he slides it to Matthews, that is like I will bet money that's it.
No, Matthews has been very good for Americans, and he. Again, I think it's just one of those things where it's just a trend of people hating on him, so it's easy to hop onto it without, even actually knowing what you're talking about. And I think that's kind of what it is, because again, he's been one of the Americans' better players and has been outproducing, and is a lot more noticeable than a lot of other guys they were expected to rely on. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about the tournament Matthews has been having.
People love to dunk on him, and there's a couple guys from Toronto that people love to dunk on, and it's really starting to look like it's none of those guys' fault. It might just be Buffalo passing their cursed voodoo to Toronto, because Mitch Marner is also a pretty clutch player himself, and he scored the OT winner in a 4-3 OT win for Canada over Czechia. In the last year, not even the first insanely clutch OT winner that he scored either. Obviously, he scored the OT winner. Was it against Sweden in the Four Nations?
Yeah.
Like, we can move on to that game unless you have anything else on the US game.
No, yeah, no, we can dive right into the insanely intense Canada-Czechia game. That obviously was the first overtime game we got of the day. Canada winning that game 4-3 in overtime. A lot closer than a lot of people were thinking this game was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the times here. I'll start bringing them up, but the Czechia team, they pulled ahead in the late in the third, and you could feel the air get completely sucked out of that building. Like, everyone was just waiting.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Canada's gonna go up. Come on. Oh, Nate's out there. McDavid's out there. Celebrini. Like, they're it's gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, Czechia scores. They're up 3-2, and everyone goes, "Oh shit, we're running out of time." And
Yeah.
it came right down to it. Like, geez, Christ,
I think the
game?
tough part with that goal, and obviously that goal being scored by Andre Palat, I think there's two ways you can look at it, right? Because Canada's obviously going kind of through the motions right now in this game, and that being due to the fact that it's already a super close game against Czechia, and it's not if we lose we'll get it next time. It's like you lose, you're done. But you're also playing without your captain. You're playing without Sidney Crosby, was injured in the game, didn't come back. So when you go down 3-2, there's the mindset of that you can have of, we got to go out there and we got to win it for Sid and use it for motivation. But at the same time, you're also sitting there like, fuck, we can't let this be his last game. And it depends on which way you view it. If you can use it as motivation, or if it starts being your mind of like, fuck, and you start to worry and stress a bit, and you overanalyze, you overthink, you're trying to force shit. And there was times where it kind of looked like that's kind of what Canada was going through, and they needed to just settle it down and go back to exactly what they've been doing before. And thankfully they were able to get a tying goal from Nick Suzuki on an incredible deflection, one that these guys score maybe 5 out of 100 times when it's going 5 feet wide of the net, a perfect deflection,
going well wide.
And absolutely shocked it took this long for Suzuki to be playing center. He's kind of playing on the wing for the most of the tournament, and I think he did struggle. There was moments where he looked good, but overall he did struggle on the wing. And once he was able to slide back into the center position, obviously with Crosby being injured and got to fill that spot, he looked fantastic and shouldn't even touch the wing for the rest of the tournament.
No, and I'm so glad they went to this lineup, because the lines that they had in the final 10 minutes are, at the very least, is what I wanted for that line, his line. The whole going into the tournament, I so badly wanted to see Nick Suzuki centering Brandon Hagel and Seth Jarvis, or Bo Horvat, either of those two. And they ended up going with Seth Jarvis, and that was the three of them that were out there on that tying goal. Like, that's 3 insanely good forecheckers, insanely responsible defensive players. Like, they can do it all. And that's the kind of goal that line, if they're going to score again in this tournament, if they play together, that's what they'll do. Like, they're really good at getting possession, getting it to the point, and like, he obviously didn't get anything, and Suzuki did, but Hagel was there for a tip as well. Like,
yeah,
I really like that line. I hope they keep
my favorite thing about it is the fact that it was Suzuki near the end of his shift, clearly gassed, and he's the one to get it over the blue line, dump it in, go and force the turnover, help get the puck back to the defense, and then he goes.
100%. This play was all Suzuki.
Like and it highlights it.
Yeah,
he should have been playing center this whole tournament. It's some guys are good at transitioning from center to wing. Suzuki's not. He is a natural centerman. He is an elite center, and absolutely should stay in that spot for the remainder of the tournament. If you got to move someone else out of the center position, you do it, because Suzuki 100%. Is so much more effective there.
Dude, when that play was developing, I was like yelling at my TV too. I was yelling at Mitch Marner and Mark Stone. I was like, what are you doing? Like, because the whole reason Suzuki has to go in alone is because these two guys in a tie game, they start changing from the far side and they skate, you know how hockey players do it. They go very upright, they're vertical. They're kind of kicking their feet. They got their stick at their side already. And it's like, bro, you got like another 40 feet. You got to get the fuck off the ice so he can get some help. And luckily, he didn't need it. He just forechecked through several guys on the Czech team and ended up also tipping it. But I was sitting there like, man, these guys could not look slower getting to the bench. The guys are just waiting for the coach to give them the okay to hop over the boards. Yeah, that incredible effort by Suzuki on that one. And man, that goal was so big because once Palat scored again, we haven't even really broke it down, but that what are people noted as now? The 7-man too many men goal? Like for like 30 plus seconds, they had at least 6 guys on the ice. Later on, they ended up having 7 or 8 because of they were doing the line change behind the play, so that didn't really affect it. What did affect it was the fact that they had 6 guys on the ice for, again, like 30 full seconds.
I don't know. I don't know if it was 30 full seconds.
I think I saw somebody say 36, but it's not like I went back and timed it. But when Canada had possession in their own end, there was at least...
There were 6 guys in the defensive zone, so all involved in the play.
Minimum 10 to 15 seconds at least. And it absolutely did affect the play. So, like...
And resulted in the goal that put Czechia up 3-2.
Like, obviously, we're, like, biased beyond belief as Canadians and fans of Team Canada, but also, just as a hockey fan, thank God this game didn't end 3-2 on a ball buster with too many men on the ice that's just not allowed to be challenged. And it's like...
But here's the one thing I will say. I think
book,
it is... It is bullshit that there's no challenging, but on the flip side of it, it doesn't matter if they could have. Canada wouldn't have challenged because they didn't know. The announcers didn't know. The refs didn't know.
People figured it out after.
Some guys on Czechia say they don't know. I think they knew. One player on Czechia confirmed they knew. McKinnon said he knew, but Nathan McKinnon, the type of guy, he would have been having a fit if he knew and it didn't get called. So Canada didn't know. So whether they could have challenged or not, the fact is they missed it actually at the end of the day.
I do wonder if do you think they fully because like obviously like I don't even know the names of the video coaches and stuff. Like, do you think they knew but were like, this isn't a challengeable call? Like, if they were to call down, I would hope that the refs would allow that to be challenged and called back. I get it's not in the rule books, but it's also breaking the rules to have 6 men on the ice. So what? You're breaking one rule to fix another broken rule. Like, is this rule that much more important? This one's the one happening on the ice. Like,
I mean, no, absolutely, yeah.
And there's so many times where refs are like, we can't review these things, and then sometimes in these weird situations they just do. And afterwards, it's like, the league has never come out and been like, the ref made the wrong call, we're gonna redo this game later or something. Like, that never happens. The ref has more power than any NHL or IIHF commissioner while the game's happening. Like, if they decide something, I don't think I've ever seen Bettman call down and be like, that's wrong, change it back. Like, obviously you can't power trip with this kind of stuff, but like, every once in a while, I would like to see a veteran ref be like, I'm going to do what's right, not what's the rules.
But if the refs didn't notice...
Oh, yeah. They didn't notice. Team Canada didn't seem to notice.
If one ref randomly said, oh, let's just check just to see if there's too many men. When none of them had a single clue. Again, the broadcasters even missed it calling the game. Canada missed it when it resulted in a goal against them.
I watched it live.
It's one of those bizarre. I noticed in the celebration that there was 6 guys.
I noticed.
I never went back because I was kind of
between. I figured they were between line changes, and then as soon as the goal scored, they go over and they're hyped. Like, I figured it was just a weird meeting in the middle, and it wasn't I didn't think they would have actually had too many men, but
yeah, it was just so bizarre that it got missed by pretty much everybody there.
Everybody.
And it took till after the game for it to actually become something. And obviously, Czech, his coach, very unhappy with the reffing, and to throw out the quote of saying it felt like we were playing 6-on-5 out there. We were basically playing 5 against 6. It's like, okay, well, Canada was literally playing 6 against 5, and it resulted in a goal against them. Like, and that's the thing, right? Is like, thankfully, Canada did come back to it, not only because, we're Canadian, we're cheering for Canada, but because
it would have been a travesty of the sport. No matter what team it would happen to, like, that would have just been like the lamest. That would have been so much worse than the 3-on-3 overtime, and I've made my feelings on that pretty clear. Like,
it would have been just as bad if it was Sweden did it to the Americans and they beat them, or Switzerland. Like, it didn't matter who. It's the fact that if a game of this amount mattered and potentially could have been determined by something like this not being called, that is usually pretty hard to miss. Again, it's one of those weird ones where we all miss it, but I think everybody's just kind of caught up in the excitement of the game and everything. But
well, it's not like they did it on purpose either. It was clearly, they're not trying to get away with a 6-man on the ice. Mm-hmm. Somebody didn't realize they shouldn't be out there, clearly.
Yeah, somebody messed up, yeah.
Because, like you said, this always gets called. Like, they're not going to risk trying to sneak an extra guy out there. So they fucked up, too, in the moment. And, yeah, it's just nobody noticed. I actually have 2 separate friends that are over in person. And I messaged them both after the game, and I was like, did you notice this was going on? And both of them were like, I had no clue until we were out of the building. Like, nobody there in person knew either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those weird ones that just got missed by everyone. And thankfully, Suzuki was able to, tie the game up late there. And then, who else but Mitch Marner to insane solo effort going into to end it there. Definitely was a bit of a wake up call for
I was
Canada.
like, I just figured he was gonna bury that shit. He
scored some big goals for.
Is it crazy to say Mitch Canada. Marner's becoming an underrated player? Is
No.
that a bit much?
No, he's not an under. No, he's so properly rated. He's still properly.
I don't know,
because people still have him in their top 20 players in the league. To say he's underrated,
but he doesn't score a lot of. But he doesn't score a lot of goals with Vegas. He was getting only assists. And I'm creating a fake person to argue with. I
was gonna say, that's you're not setting yourself up for an argument between here. A couple things I do want to talk about with Canada. First of all, the duo of Celebrini McDavid is absolutely disgusting. It's the best duo we've ever seen for Team Canada or professional hockey at any level. And yeah, man, they're just so much fucking fun to watch every time they're out there. And you can slot pretty much anybody with them. I'm starting to kind of be like, all right, let's give up on the Tom Wilson experiment and get someone else in there. I
really hope that they do.
Yeah.
Wilson's been fine in that. Everyone thought he would be bad. He has not been bad in that role. But
you need more effective players at this level of the tournament now.
McDavid's first in points on Team Canada, Celebrini's second. Like, they're at 10 and 8 points respectively. I don't even know where Wilson is, but he doesn't show up on the list when I look for him.
McDavid's at 11 points, Celebrini's at 9.
Like,
McDavid leading the tournament in points, Celebrini leading in goals. Like,
he's clutch.
And then Tom
Wilson plays well. Honestly, he's got built-in chemistry with McDavid. He even assisted a primary assist on that golden goal in Four Nations. Throw Mitch Marner up there with him.
Absolutely could, yeah.
I'd love that as a first line. Like, he doesn't need to be playing with Mark Stone to be producing.
Yeah, and that's kind of my other thing. And again, you might not like this because I am going to criticize John Cooper a bit. Again, I do love John Cooper, fantastic coach. But it truly is mind-blowing to me that we're at this stage in the tournament and he is yet to figure out a line for Nathan McKinnon that doesn't involve just putting him on the wing with McDavid and Celebrini. Like
Yeah.
McKinnon's been good this tournament, but there has not been that level of consistency because he has not been able to find a consistent line for McKinnon. And to the point where he kept Suzuki on the line on the wing for so long when you could have easily just, and we said it before, move Crosby up with McKinnon. We know it works. We know how dominant they're. Suzuki can slot in on that third line center. And I don't know why that was never even tried for a bit.
I think
And it's
it's
always kind of
because
felt
that
like,
third line was just so good. When Crosby, Marner, and Stone were out
but
there,
I don't think it
they
matters
were
how good
really
your third line is if your
solid.
second line isn't really much. Like your second line's
That's the
just kind
thing.
of out there to, you know, hold off the other team and then wait for your first line to get. Again,
Yeah.
that was the part I was starting to worry about. You know, it wasn't a fact of when Canada was down, it was like, fuck, you know, what are we're not going to tie it up. We're done. Like some people were saying, I fully believe Canada could tie it up, but the problem was
Yeah.
is you were basically waiting for McDavid and Celebrini to hop out there to be like, okay, you know, we've got a chance to score here now. We got to get one here and before they get off in 40 seconds because the depth scoring hasn't been there for Canada. And thankfully that was proven wrong by Nick Suzuki going out there and then Mitch Marner, you know, I mean, it is overtime, but a guy who's kind of been a third liner for this team, and the offensive numbers haven't been there for him in the tournament up until this point. Um, but yeah, and again, McKinnon is a little bit banged up now. We do know that, um, and it is nice having the ability to throw him up on that top line. But like, why not even try throwing Sam Reinhart up there and just trying something
Yeah.
to help get it going for your second line. Again, that features Nathan McKinnon that should not be struggling as much as it has been.
Well, and so we say struggling, but I mean, he does have 6 points in 4
But
games, 3
but
goals.
on the
And
power play when he's on the first line with McDavid and Celebrini, that's the thing. It's not like he's out there when he's on the second
5
line
on 5.
with whoever in 5-on-5 and score. Like it's power play and when he was up on that top line.
I think it is a lot of, and this is one thing that I know John Cooper does a lot, is he is a very trust the process guy. If something's
Absolutely.
very clearly
Yeah.
not working, he doesn't do it. But if they get chances and they don't go in, he's like, we got a chance. If we get a chance again, next time it'll probably go in. And I think that's what he's looking at because for basically this whole tournament, his wingers have been Suzuki and Hagel.
Yeah.
And Suzuki and Hagel have looked like the two most snake-bitten players on the team. Like Suzuki, even in this game before he got the goal, he did. He had a wide open net that he missed on right beside it. You know, Hagel's had a couple where it just rolls off his stick, it bounces over it or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
that line has had a lot of chances that have just not quite gotten the offense they want. And I think because of that, he didn't want to mix it up too much. But when Sidney Crosby goes down, that's not a guy where you can, okay, now we're rotating through the line. No, now you have to change the lines. He knew that and he's switched it up.
Yeah.
I do expect Suzuki, Hagel, and somebody to be that kind of third line going forward.
Put him with Mark Stone or if Bo Horvat, you're sliding him to the wing. Bo Horvat has been great this tournament, even.
Frankly, I would love to see Bo Horvat play with McKinnon. I think he's earned it. He's been fantastic.
I'd be all for that. He's great on the forecheck. He's got no problem driving to the net as well. He's a great face-off guy if McKinnon can't take the draw. Absolutely. I think it's definitely worth a look. It and maybe it's easy, you know, just sitting on the couch and fucking wiping the crumbs off our belly and shit like that and pointing out. But
Yeah.
if it feels like the simple play would have been just like at some point, just try Crosby and Marner with McKinnon. You know, again,
Yeah.
we were talking about the whole time when they're constructing these teams, and it's like they were taking guys like Hagel and Suzuki, where I love them both, but they were taken to be, you know, bottom six guys. When Braden
Yeah.
Point went out, you brought Sam. Why wouldn't you bring Connor Bedard then if you weren't sold on guys like Crosby, Marner, Reinhart being guys in your top six? You're telling me they
Bedard and
picked
Point
Bennett
are so
over
similar.
Bedard to
I can't believe they didn't bring him, dude. I
like
can't
it's
believe
and
they
again,
didn't.
it's not even to bash
Undersized
on
sniper.
Bennett for getting picked. Again, I'm still fine with the Bennett pick, but it's so weird that they went away from Bedard because he doesn't fit that bottom six role. When they were sitting there like, well, we've got our second line wingers in Hagel and Suzuki. It's like those should be your fantastic third line guys. Your penalty kill
We
guys.
love those guys, but we knew they should be probably on the third line.
Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter whether you're first, second, third, fourth.
Crosby's been on the third line. There's nothing wrong with it.
Every guy on this team has a role that their job is to go out there and do, and they're doing it very well so far this tournament. It is kind of weird, and I hope maybe we'll see something a little bit different. It's obviously we don't know the status of McKinnon and how healthy he's going to be.
That's another thing. He has been Crosby, a little bit hurt throughout.
Yeah, so. And then the biggest one, obviously, in Sidney Crosby, who, what's his status going to be? And on top of that, because a lot of people didn't know this, double HF rules basically think, for the most part, think of it as minor hockey. And what's an old standing rule in minor hockey? You must have a captain on the bench or on the ice in a game. If Sidney Crosby is unable to go tomorrow against Finland, someone else is getting the C for Team Canada. For that game at least, potentially the rest of the tournament, but we'll be watching Team Canada where someone other than Sidney Crosby is wearing the C.
And it's so interesting because that basically nobody on earth wants to be in that game more than Crosby. If he's able to play, he will want to. But he's also a guy that he is beyond willing to put the country over himself. If he's not at that point and not ready to return and play, then he's going to sit out because he's going to be like, no, 50% of me is not as good as 100% of Seth Jarvis or Sam Bennett or whoever. Like he's going to, if he's not going to be good enough to be that guy, then he's going to sit out.
He's going to willingly
real possibility.
Sit out. And Crosby's he's the type of player that he'd rather sit out and not play against Finland and trust that his team will get the job done, so he'll be able to play in the gold medal game. Because I kind of do believe that even if he's at 50, if it gets to the gold medal game, he's going to be playing. And I think it's going to be a combination of him saying it, and it's going to be the team saying you're playing. But that's the thing; it's a combination of Crosby's going to be like, I'm going to be out there. I might only be able to play 10 minutes, but I'm going to give you guys the best 10 minutes of my entire career. And the team's going to be like, doesn't matter. You sitting is not even an option. There's no way they would.
We need you on the bench.
Him.
We need you on the bench.
And obviously, we can kind of assume it's probably going to be Connor McDavid that gets to see. He's after Crosby, it's McDavid's team, and I don't think anyone's shocked to hear that.
No. People are saying maybe McKinnon. Guys, he doesn't even have a letter.
Yeah. They're not going to go from him not getting a letter to now you get the C. It'll probably
it would go to McDavid, and he'll probably get McDavid's A. He'll probably get an assistant C.
So. And that's exactly the way that it should be. To me, there's no other option. There's a lot of good leaders on that team, but it's McDavid's team. In the post Crosby era.
The only guy I could even see an argument for would be Brad Marchand. But even then, that's just kind of goofy.
Yeah. And again, Marchand probably doesn't even want it.
If you asked him, he'd be like, really? How many people did turn you down? Surely I'm not your first pick, right? So, yeah.
So it's definitely interesting to keep an eye on with Canada's, is Crosby going to be in the lineup? If he is, how much does he play? If he's not, what do the lines look like? Josh Morrissey thought he was going to play yesterday, did not play. Would be nice to get him. If Josh Morrissey doesn't play the rest of this tournament, 2028 World Cup, do you start to consider for your Team Canada just not bringing Morrissey?
I would need
just to the last year in the Four Nations, and now it's like you didn't even get 2 full games out of.
I would need him to play every single game. He would have to play every single game that year leading up to it, I think. Maybe if he's missed 1 or 2, okay. If he's missed 10 games by February and you're picking a World Cup team, we can't trust that you're going to be ready there. We don't know. The last thing any team wants to do is bring a question mark.
No, absolutely. And you might not like this, but I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. I should still have it. You're not going to like this argument, but it's a talk that needs to be made.
Okay, I'm always there for those.
Where is it? I know I did have it. Is this? Yeah, we're checking. Yeah. Canada should have brought Evan Bouchard. I think I can finally now get on that and say that Evan Bouchard should have been brought by Canada. And it's not because Bouchard's, and you know, maybe he's better than some of these guys, but it's the fact that you brought guys like Colton Parayko over him. And again, I'm not saying it was a bad pick at the time, but you did bring Colton Parayko over Evan Bouchard. You brought Travis Sanheim, Shea Theodore, you know, these guys that were more so going to be playing these defensive roles and these shutdown minutes. Like, we're seeing Cale Makar play 26 minutes every game. Like, we're seeing Cale Makar just being out there so often because you're not really getting offense from Devon Taves, unless Makar's out there. But again, Devon Taves just has to slide over to Makar. Doughty has actually been fine with Thomas Harley, but again, Drew Doughty only played 14 minutes, 18 seconds. Parayko played 10 minutes. Sanheim played just under 9 minutes. Theodore has been all right, but again, he hasn't been very solid on that second power play unit, which he's been on there from the beginning. It's not like he's on there because Morrissey got injured. Like, Shea Theodore was their guy. Why not even have Evan Bouchard just fucking play 12 minutes? But he's out there to help on the power play. He's out there to help in the offensive zone a bit, because if Cale Makar and Thomas Harley, if one of them's not out there, you're not getting any offensive game from your defenseman. And that's starting to highlight a little bit of a problem for Canada a bit.
I got to assume that Josh Morrissey would have quarterbacked that second power play if he was healthy and playing. No, I'm completely there with you, man. Like, fuck. Like,
wow.
And man, and Evan Bouchard, and not only that, he was heating up going into the Olympics too. Like, I think this Team Canada team would be a lot better off if they had him.
I didn't think I'd be saying it. I did not think you were going to be agreeing with me. A couple other things to highlight from the Canadian time on ice. Tom Wilson, first line winger, played 8.5 minutes that game. So
wow,
that experiment
I didn't know it was that low.
Isn't great. Sam Reinhart playing 9.5 minutes. Brad Marchand, just a bit over 7 minutes. McKinnon actually logged the most time on ice out of forwards with 22:43. Celebrini 22:36. That's been the biggest thing for Canada. Is we know how good Celebrini was, but we didn't know how good he was going to translate to, you know, the Olympics and being 19 years old. He's leading the team in goals, second in the entire Olympics for points, and he's playing 20 plus minutes every night and is phenomenal with McDavid every time they're out there. And that's huge for Canada to have that surprise that you didn't think you were going to be getting.
Yeah. He's just been absolutely fantastic. Just like every game, it seems like he's breaking another record. McDavid's setting another, or Crosby setting another record for him to try and break in the future. Like, yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. And it's so hard not to watch him crush it like this and think, fuck, man, Bedard could be doing the same thing. Like,
yeah,
I think they're very, very close in skill level right now. That's your guy right there. We're looking for guys who would be on McKinnon's wing. God, the 1-2 punch of having Celebrini and McDavid and fucking whoever, and then you have Bedard, McKinnon, and fucking whoever.
Yeah, and realistically, it probably should be Crosby and Marner in that top six with them. I'd be fine if Sam Reinhart, because again, I think Sam Reinhart's just not getting the opportunity. Like, he's a 50 goal guy. He's a great.
He has looked rough in the minutes he's got. I don't know
But I think
what
because
he
he's
did
kind of
early
being
enough to
forced
lose those minutes, though.
yeah. And I will say though, he didn't have the greatest Four Nations. Like I picked him at the start of Four Nations to lead the tournament in goals, and I think he
Yeah,
had one goal.
and
I
and
thought
he
he
had
was
a
good,
couple times
and
where like he
he's
was
on the
getting
first power
prime
play.
chances. Yeah,
It's like he's a guy that's like you get to play 9.5 minutes on our fourth line, getting subbed in and out. But power play, you're out there on the first unit, and
yeah.
he
Which
hasn't done dick all on it to
the
be
way
honest.
the way that those top guys run on the power play, I don't think they ever really look at the guy in the slot as that's not their number one goal to get the puck
And
to.
that's fair.
I think they try and sell it like that constantly to try and get the defense to go tighter and tighter, and then it's cross crease from McDavid to McKinnon. Yeah, no shit, that's in like doing stuff like
Yeah.
that. But still, yeah, I'm shocked he's not getting more ice time, and I do
Like
wonder if it's like, is it an injury thing? Is it just the way he's played? Is it just they didn't have confidence in him and other guys have taken over the roles that
mhm.
he would have filled? Like it is always confusing, seeing, Tom Wilson's on the first line, but he plays 9 minutes a night. Sam Reinhart's playing on the fourth line, but he's on the first line power play. Like it's
Yeah.
some of those are very strange, but
Yeah.
they've been winning so far doing it. So hopefully they make the right
Um,
adjustments and keep it rolling.
no, absolutely. But overall, huge win for Canada over Czechia, 4-3 in overtime again. We have no update on the status of Sidney Crosby going into tomorrow's game, so we're gonna find that out same time you guys do, whenever that may be. Um, but
Did you hear what he said in the intermission? I assume you did.
I didn't hear exactly what he said, but I heard that he kind of gave like a pep talk to the team, like a speech
He
and
gave a
whatnot.
big
But
speech to the boys, and it sounded like he said he just it was not incredibly passionate over the top. He's not Ted Mosby. He would just went in there and was very calm, and he was like, "Guys, go play your game. We're gonna get that next goal. We're gonna win the game." And the guys were kind of looking for something. He was like, "We're gonna win." And for people who know a bit of their history, that's exactly what I believe it was Scott Niedermayer said to the locker room at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics when they were down uh, in that gold medal game, and he said he was so shocked at how the veterans were calm and there was no panic on their faces. They knew they were going to win. They just had to go out there and make it reality. And the rest is history. They go out there. Whoever it was scored the tying goal. Crosby gets the golden goal, and
I don't know if that was the
Crosby.
gold medal game. I don't think it was the gold medal game
No,
in that tournament. I don't think it was the gold medal game, but I can't remember what game that was.
I don't. I don't
Shit, fuck,
remember
what
too
game was
much.
that?
I thought it might be, but um, yeah, like this is one of those teams that's just there until it's over. They're confident that they're going to win the game because they
Mm.
have that talent, and yeah, it's every time a game ends, it's just fuck. I can't wait till the next one starts.
Yeah, we got both of them taking place tomorrow. Canada, Finland being the earlier game, and Slovakia and US being the later game. Um, Looking forward to both those. Again, we're still figuring out what we've got planned for later this week, but we'll have something coming out. To either discuss the upcoming bronze and gold medal game, or potentially it'll be just reviewing the bronze and talking, preview of the gold is. Again, they're on 2 different days, a lot of stuff going on, and we'll kind of figure out what that is when the time comes. But something will be coming out at some point, a little extra small bonus episode for you guys to listen to that, hear our thoughts going into the games and predictions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do not have a game for us today. I did leave it in the
Oh,
script, but just what they're watching all these games, whatnot, I didn't have time to come up with one and get it polished, so we don't got one today. That is on me, but can you blame me? I've been enjoying great Olympic hockey and getting up at 4 in the morning for the past week to watch some of these games, so I'm hanging on by a thread here. So I'm giving myself
no,
a free pass.
that's absolutely fair.
I'm gonna take a
I
freebie today.
Do you think they got? Do you think they got something? You know those. You actually sent one to the chat not too long ago. Those. Which career would you rather have? Types. You know, the player A, player B kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like doing a quick Google search, see if I can bring one of those up. We'll do a quick game here. Although I'm not. Man, there's a lot of like posts on forums from like 2007. It's kind of weird that that's the first stuff that's coming up. But you know what? Maybe we'll do that game in the future. I don't need to sit here and search for too long.
We'll plan something up like that for sure. But we are at the end of the episode here. We do want to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. Again, we are recording this on the Thursday just after the Americans win the gold medal in women's hockey. And this will be coming out in like an hour or so. We are going to put this up right away just to get it up there for you guys. You guys can dive into this whenever you want. So there will be no episode out on the Fridays. This is technically the Friday episode, but you will get a small little extra bonus something later on this week surrounding the men's bronze and gold medal game. I would say we could do final predictions, but I think we're both kind of just going to go with Canada and US going to the gold medal game. It's kind of been the game everybody thought was going to be the goal at the start of the tournament. It kind of feels that's the way we're going.
It's like that until it isn't.
Yeah, you did mention the 2010 Winter Olympics Vancouver, and I believe these were the final 4 teams we had that year as well. Canada, US, Finland, Slovakia. So if everything goes the same way it did last time, hey, you know what? I'm all for it because it means we'll get a Canada gold, and that's obviously what we're hoping for. But if you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on the Olympics, on the games, on everything that's been going on. You can do so at the end of our socials or on YouTube as well. Braden, we've got some big games coming up tomorrow. They're going to be absolutely fantastic. Can't wait for them. But before we can get to those, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. We have those 2 games set up. You know what? We won't even go with just goal scores because that's a bit vague. Each game, you get 1 player. Who do you have for the game-winning goal?
So between the 2 games, who gets the game-winning goal?
Yeah.
Canada, Finland. I'm going to go Celebrini. I mean, he's scored in every game so far for Canada. Leads the tournament in goals. Why not? Just go with the guy that's been finding a way to put the puck in the net, and it's fucking easy when you're playing with McDavid, right? Like,
yeah.
And for US, Slovakia, give me Slavkovsky.
Okay, well,
give me Slavkovsky. You know what? Fuck it, Slovakia's gonna win.
You took my Slovakian pick.
All right, give me Pavel Regenda. Sharks legend, starting to heat up. He had a big 3 points the other day. How sick would it be
if he ended the US's golden medal dreams?
I'd buy a Regenda Sharks jersey. I'll say it. If he gets a game-winning goal and Slovakia beats US, I will buy a Regenda jersey.
A Slovakia Regenda jersey or a Sharks one?
I was gonna say both, but like, fuck, jerseys are so fucking expensive. Yeah. I don't know.
It's got to be Slovakia because
who
knows if that one becomes timeless because who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how long he'll be on the Sharks? I have genuinely no idea on his projection as a player.
I'll get a Slovakia one.
For Canada, you know what? He's had some points, but he hasn't quite been scoring at the level we thought. And again, that's goals. He's known as an assist guy because he's a freaking defenseman. Give me Cale Makar. I think Cale Makar's been good in this tournament. I think he's got more to give. And maybe it's because he's playing a lot of minutes, but Cale Makar, he's used to playing a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the US and Slovakia, I mean, you already said it, but I'll say Slavkovsky.
That's a fine pick. If the US does win, which they probably do, I'll go Tage Thompson for a realistic pick in that one.
He shoots a lot. He shoots the puck a lot. His slider is fucking crazy. You know what? Give me Matt Boldy because he's also been shooting a lot.
And I guess, just so we don't jinx it for Finland, give me Heiskanen. I like Heiskanen. I'm just throwing out a name, but because I don't want to jinx us by not even talking about Finland.
You know what? A
I'll say
guy who
Heiskanen.
does not score until it's a really important get. Like this guy's regular season stats are fine, and then the big games show up. I'm taking his D partner, Esa Lindell. As soon as he's wearing his country's jersey, he gets way more goals than normal. Like
Yeah.
he match in a tournament, he'll match his career, or not his
Yeah.
career, his season high.
Nah, fuck his career, honestly. Fuck it. But that is it for this episode. One final time, hope you enjoyed. And again, if you want to talk Olympics, talk anything surrounding it, the hockey, anything at all, you can do so through the socials or on YouTube. But that is it for this episode. We are out of here. We hope you're enjoying the Olympics as much as we are.
So good.
That is it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And as always, we will see all of you out on the ice later this week.